car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Yes, indeed. And we are pleased, honored, and privileged to have the owners of Low Overhead Country, also known as Frontier Motors, with us live here in the studio. 478-3116. That's the magic phone number. If you want to call to get a price on a car, truck, or SUV. You will be talking to Ron Schneider and Iven Streckel. Welcome.
This is the WCOA radio show, so if you're driving down the road right now and you need value on your car, you can dial us you can bring us up by dialing 478-3116. That's 478-3116. We're also video recording this show for our cable subscribers in the Pensacola area. Actually, we go out pretty far. Now that they have HD cable, we go all the way past Mobile and all the way past Fort Walton. So we've got probably a lot of people out there that also are watching us. So if you're watching us, don't bother calling the WCA radio show because this is a taped show. But you can call the dealership. And the dealership phone number at Frontier Motors is 436-8080. That's the area code 850. It's probably on the bottom of your screen right now. And the reason you might want to call us is to get advice on what your car might be worth, whether it be a trade-in, whether it be you selling it yourself, or whether you just be bringing it to Frontier Motors and having us write a check for that car for you.
Loads and loads of information on this show. We have all the values with us, the Black Book, the NADA books, the new car cost guides, anything that we need to operate at Frontier Motors. And because we're operating on values of cars, you can get that information from us anytime you need it. On the show here, 478-3116, like Ivan said, and at the dealership. A little bit about Frontier Motors. For those people that are watching in the Fort Walton area and Mobile area, we're located right in the middle of Escambia County, just outside of Car City. The reason for that and the premise for that was to stay out of Car City, low overhead country. We have a very nice facility with lots of room inside, probably 25, I think we counted employees yesterday, 10 salespeople, and 300, let me see here, we're pretty up to date here. How many was there? There's 328 the other day. Had a pretty good day the other day. That would be 328 today. Replaced what we sold, so it's a replacement. It's always replaced. It's always selling, always replacing. Frontier Motors is an independent dealer, if that makes sense. We're not a franchise dealership. We have used cars and used cars only. Sometimes we have our used cars are so close to new that it would scare you. Some cars like we have a Toyota Tundra that I'm driving with 7,000 miles on it, and it's a 2011. Can you save yourself a lot of money? Absolutely. We are the alternative to a new car. We are not a new car dealership. And a couple of other things, we open all our cars in the morning, so you don't have to beg a salesman to do that. We don't put pressure on you because we don't have any pressure on us. We kept the overhead down, and a lot of fun to buy a car at Frontier Motors and real easy to buy a car at Frontier Motors.
And again, the show is not just about talking about Frontier Motors. It's to let the people out there in our area know that there's actually a dealership out there that will give you advice on what you should pay for a car, even if you're not buying it from us. We know that we don't sell every car in the city of Pensacola. We wish we would. We sell a majority of them based on the registrations. We sell more used cars than any other dealer in Pensacola, but any other independent dealer, I should say, in Pensacola. But where we really shine is if you've got a friend or neighbor or relative that is wanting to buy a car that they see alongside of the road. How do you know, other than my getting on the internet and looking at the Edmunds or the Kelly Blue Book, how do you know what to pay for that car? Tell that person to call Frontier Motors, ask for Ron or Ivan, or our sales manager, Keisha or Bruce, and we will actually go right into the auction reports, and I'll give you an example of how this works. Let's say that you are looking at a 2006 Buick LaCrosse, and it's got 55,000 miles on it, and the gentleman's asking $16,000 for it. So what I do is I get right into the auction reports, which are the Manheim auction reports, are the largest auction chain. It's the largest auction chain in the world, and I can see that a Buick LaCrosse, they had a whole bunch of them that were sold in the last 30 days, and miles in the 50s are going somewhere wholesale between $8,500 and $9,500. So that leads me to believe, let's use the high end of it. Let's say I paid $9,500 for a car, and I wanted to mark it up $2,000. Let's say $500 or $600 for transportation. The rest of it's for profit. So I would say that I can buy that car for you for about $11,500. Now, if the gentleman has it advertised for $14,500 because that's what the Kelly Blue Book says, you'd be paying way too much. And that's why you want to have your friend or relative call Frontier Motors to get our opinion. And you don't even have to tell us what they're asking. We don't want that to cloud our mind as far as if it's a good deal, bad deal. We're not trying to kink the deal for that private individual, or perhaps it's another dealership that has a car. And especially if another dealership has a car, we are not here to talk you out of buying it from there. We're here to give you the information to make sure it's a good car, clean history report, which we'll do for you for no charge, but most importantly, to tell you what to pay for that car. If that other dealer doesn't come down to the price that we tell you, that's when we kick in. And if we don't already have that car on the lot, and with 328, we've probably got a couple Buick Lucernes or LaCrosses on the lot. But if we don't have it, we can see exactly what's selling next week at the auction. We can tell you the color, we can tell you the equipment, we can tell you the miles, and we can go buy that car for you. So if you could just wait a week, you might save yourself $2,000 or $3,000.
And sometimes, as he's saying, it sounds a little confusing, but it's really not. That's what we do for a living. We do this every day. We breathe it every day, and so do our salespeople. Our salespeople, if you call Frontier Motors at 436-8080, they all have a laptop on their desk, and they can get into some of these things. Some of the other wholesale guide stuff, they got to come to Iven or one of the sales managers to help you out with that. But it's so good to use that. Just don't call your credit union. Don't get me wrong. Call your credit union, but don't just use that as an example. Make sure that you ask a dealer that's in the business what's going on in the market, and it makes a lot more sense. It makes it a lot easier, and it'll be a lot safer. I had a customer call me on the phone just a few days ago, and he had a problem with his car. He bought it. He's only had it. He didn't make a first payment on it. It's very uncomfortable when he sits in it. When his wife sits in it, she's not very, very comfortable. He needs to get out. Well, the problem is he paid about $1,500 too much. Now, why he didn't call us before he bought the sale, I have no idea, but he paid about $1,500 too much. They added the tax tag and title on it. Now he owes $2,000 too much. Now it was $2,000, it was $1,500. Now it's $2,500 too much. Then he financed it, so now he's about $3,500 in the wrong direction. Can he trade that? Not without a bunch of cash. So you have to be cautious on what you buy, because you never tell when it changes, and you can never tell when you need something different. I mean, people they'll buy a brand new car, or they'll buy a car from us, and 2 weeks later they'll get a job from maybe they got a car from their employer. Well, what do? Well, you bring the car to us. If you can't sell it to us, we can always put it on consignment. That's the other thing that we do. We do a lot of buying of good quality used cars at Frontier Motors. If you're not one of those people that want to put your car on Craigslist, AutoTrader, or Cars.com, bring it by Frontier Motors. We'd be glad to look at it. We like to purchase nice, clean cars from the street, from one owner, two owner. It really doesn't matter. Bring it to us. We'll run the VIN number. We'll take a drive in it, and we'll come back and we'll tell you how much we'll buy it, and we'll put it in writing. If it doesn't seem to be enough, we can sometimes go up a little bit higher and put it on consignment. You get paid when we sell it. So you get a little bit more money. You're kind of sharing in the wealth with us, because we're using your money while we're trying to sell it.
And one of the reasons that I believe customers at times, like Ron's customer, bought that car without really thinking about it is because they get caught up in the hoopla of buying a car. And I had a customer do the same thing a couple of weeks ago, Ron. And I asked him, well, if you didn't like the car, why'd you buy it? Because he only had it a short time. I said, my first question when a customer comes in, he says, I bought a car 2 months ago, and he wants to get rid of it. Well, the number one question I have, and the salespeople are always afraid to ask this because they don't want to screw up their deal. Because I think you're talking to a customer out of buying it. But my number one question is why? Why are you here? You got a perfectly fine car, and you're sitting in front of me. You just told me you just bought it 2 months ago. He said, well, they kind of pressured me into buying it, and it's not big enough, or it doesn't get good enough of gas miles, whatever the reason would be. And I always wonder about that first sentence. They pressured me into buying it. And I'm trying to figure out, how do you do that? Well, how does this... Don, do you know how that works?
I have exerted pressure on people in my life, but it was generally during my law enforcement days.
Yeah, I don't carry a gun.
Yeah. I don't ever remember being forced to buy a car or pressured to buy a car.
And I always wonder about that. And Ron, one of the things that Ron always says, that if you're unsure about the purchase, if you're unsure if it's the right car, if you're unsure if you're making the right decision, step back, get back in the old trade, go home, think about it, come back the next day. If you're excited about the purchase the next day as you were the day before, go ahead and go back there and buy that car. But in the meantime, especially if it's not at our dealership, you give for the old Frontier Motor guys a call at 436-8080. And before you sign that dotted line, let us give you a couple of figures and facts that we can come up with. And if it's a brand new car that you're looking at, we're not going to talk you out of buying the brand new car, but we're going to share with you the new car cost guide that I got, this brand new one I got yesterday, Ron. It's the first edition for 2012. And it has the retail prices and it has the invoice prices of every car. Isn't it nice to know that there's a dealership you can go to that'll tell you, here's what the dealer paid for the car. And if you know what the dealer paid for the car, give them a fair profit so you have that out of the way. Now you know that the new car deal is sealed. Now the next question that we're going to answer you is, what should I get for my trade-in? And let's say you were at that dealership the night before and they said, well, I'm going to give you the new car for $20,000 and I'll give you $10,000 for your trade-in. And let's say you come to Frontier Motors the next day and we tell you, hey, that $20,000, that's a pretty good price. I would go ahead and buy that new car for the $20,000. But that trade-in, man, they're hitting you a little light on that trade-in. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll buy that trade from you for $11,500, which is $1,500 more. Now, you can use that information to either sell me the car or go back up there and beat them up a little bit, so to speak, to get that used car manager to pay a little bit more for that car, which he should have probably done right off the bat.
Now, this process can put you an extra day into it, or you can do it a little smarter. Come to us before you go there. Come to us before you're going to venture over to Car City on Saturday, or before you're going to go on a Monday, or you're going to take a whole day off. Or if you're going to take a whole day off on Wednesday, we're open at 9 o'clock. Just come by there at 9 o'clock. Get one of the guys to look at your car. Get one of us to kind of give you some ideas. We'll put it in writing so that you can hide it in your back pocket or hide it in your purse. And then what's going to happen is when you get that salesman, after you found this wonderful deal, and there's some good deals out there. There's a lot of incentives. There's some incentives for zero interest. There's a lot of incentives for prices way down. Ivan was on the site just before we got in here of rebates that different dealers have. And there's some incentives out there. But when you get there, and this is a great deal, I'm going to pick on Honda for a little bit. They got a CRV and it's on sale. It was $24,000, now it's $20,000. If you get there and your trade-in, if we said it was worth around $11,000, they give you $9,000, then you need to just think a little bit and you need to say, look, I got something in my pocket that says it's worth this much money. Now, the guys over there said that they would buy it for this, or the guy said that it should have a value of this, and that's what Ivan is talking about, beating up that salesperson or beating up that sales manager a little bit, is get the right value. And we'll be glad to do this absolutely free. All you got to do is stop by 230 Beverly Parkway, or if you're looking for just a maybe or a ballpark figure, you can do it over the phone, but it doesn't get as precise, and it can cause you some more aggravations, because we could tell you it's worth $11,000, you show up and it needs 2 tires and needs some paint and needs this and needs that. We could be agreeing on that there. So just stop by. It's real easy. We don't have any high-pressure salespeople because Ivan and I aren't high pressure on them, and that's where that starts. The high pressure starts in those sales meetings every morning, and I used to work for a big dealer in Car City. We'll leave it at that. And we used to have a sales meeting every single morning. And
What'd you talk about?
It's just you had to be there.
Talk about it every morning. It's got to be the same thing over and over.
You just put your suit and your tie on. You sat there in the front row and be a nice guy and just one of the sales managers, and you just smile away. And if they ask you to get up, you just get up and talk about a few things that were going on in the dealership. And then the sales manager get up. One time he got up and he reached in his pockets and he threw out $50 everywhere in the crowd. We had like 30, 40 salespeople, and that said, "Get off your."
You got that bump on your head.
No, you know what that said is, "Get off your butt." No, get off your butt and make some money. That's what but everybody gets so pumped up. So when they greet you out there, man, they're like, they're going to get you.
It goes back into what we talked about before, the pressure situation, and I think this happens. I don't know why it happens more at new car dealerships than it happens at used cars. I think the new car dealerships it happens more because you can buy a car anywhere. If you're looking, for example, if you're looking for a Chevrolet, I mean, you can go to Pete Moore over here. You can go to Sandy Sansing. You can go outside our area a little bit. And if the window sticker on the car is $24,000, they all pay the same. So it's very competitive. Let's say there's no trade-in, and the invoice is $21,000. One dealership's quoting you $21,800, the other one's $21,700, the other one's $21,500. So where does it end? Go back and forth. And so what they try to do is you get in there and they do that, would you if I could? Let me ask you a question. What if I sold you for $20,500? And then you think about that and say, well, I'm going to let you know. And nobody else will do it. So you go all over to 4 or 5 different dealerships. You come back to the first dealership, say, okay, I'm ready. Write her up. $20,500, you got a deal. And then the salesman will come back out and you'll say something like, well, I didn't really say I'd sell it to you for $20,500. I told you, what if I sold it to you for $20,500? So they make an offer. You give him a $500 deposit. He goes back in the room for 25 minutes. He comes back up. He says, I can't do it for $20,500, but I can do it for $21,500, which is $200 less than what I told you I could do it the last time. So all of a sudden, you're all caught up. You already told all your friends and neighbors and relatives you're buying the new car, and you just cave and you buy it. And we're telling you, Don't get hooked up into that. The whole life is completely different at Frontier Motors. We have once a month sales meeting, and what we talk about in our sales meeting is total customer satisfaction. That when you walk in, even if we don't sell you a car, we want you to walk out with a smile on your face and say, that dealership really knew what they were doing. That dealership gave me the information so I could go out into the car world and make sure that they gave me the best price. And if you're looking at my 2011 Hyundai Sonata that has 11,000 miles on it, and I give you a price, I better be darn sure that you can't go to the local Hyundai dealership and buy that car brand new for the same price. So we do a lot of research, and we don't do that back and forth jive. What we do is give you the bottom line price in writing, because sometimes they get you on some of those other fees. We especially shine if you've got a nice trade-in, because being an independent dealer, we're not prejudiced on any type of trade-in. And I'll tell you what, if you go to a Lexus dealership with a Chevrolet diesel pickup truck, they don't get too darn excited about it, because I don't know how many diesel customers they have in a Lexus lot, so they're going to hit that diesel truck way low. Well, guess what? At Frontier Motors, we do a great diesel business. We do a great sports car business. We've got 10 Priuses on the lot. We do luxury cars. I think in the last week, Ron, I think I bought 7 different Lexus products, including RX 350s, RX 450H, ES 350s, GS 350s. All types of luxury cars are seem to sell good right now. So what I'm talking about is that we can give you the price on that car out the door, and that's where the difference comes in. Not the asking price, but who's got the best out-the-door figure. And at Frontier Motors, we're one of the few dealerships that puts that out-the-door figure in writing and circles it and tells you, now go to the other dealership and tell them to do it. And if they don't do it, they must not be proud of their price, or they must be hiding something. And we urge you at that point to walk out and try someplace else.
If you just jumped in your car or you just turned on the television, you're watching the Frontier Motor Show. We're located in Pensacola, Florida. The number goes across on the screen. If you want to call us here on the show, 478-3116. You're talking about, one more about the sales meetings. I went to a sales meeting in Jacksonville, and they hung 45 $100 bills above the door when you left. And the sales manager says, just everybody grab one, find me a new customer, and sell them a car today. And if you don't, just give it back to me at the end of the day. Now, can you imagine if you met one of those salesmen about 5 o'clock? Yeah. Woohoo, baby. Talking about inventory, you're talking about the Lexus. We have 22 Lexus in stock. Ivan bought 3 more. That's 25 used Lexus in one spot. Now, most car dealerships don't. There's some car dealerships that have 25 on their lot. Fords, 45 used Fords on one location. You take that 328 cars and you separate them. Hondas, 17 Hondas, and we're trading another one in today. That's 18 Hondas. So
sorry to interrupt. We got a little technical problem that we need to work on here. So we're going to take a quick break and come on back with some more Frontier Motors here momentarily. So just hang on. We'll be right back.
Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country in Buck.
That's what happens when you're live on the radio. You never can tell. I know we're on television and recording this. These emergency broadcasting systems, they'll come when you want to, or news has to come when they want to. So we're just at the mercy of WCOA, but the mercy of COA has brought us a lot of business, and we appreciate all those customers. As long as those people out there watching didn't mind that little bit of small break, they'll probably just piece it together and won't even know there was a break I probably shouldn't be talking about. We were talking about inventory just before we left and everything else, and there's a lot of dealerships, local, out of town, in Atlanta. When you click on their website, they claim to have 6, 7, 8, 900, thousands of cars in one location, and you don't. They have 4, 5, 6 different dealerships in those locations, so they have them at different dealerships, and it's kind of impressive. I don't know. I say we have 328 cars because I want you to know that there's a selection there when you come. If you're coming from Fort Walton, Mobile, or just here in Pensacola, we have a selection. Just give us a call at 436-8080. We're open on Saturdays till 4. Sundays we're closed. So if you're a Sunday shopper, and there's some people that just like to shop on Sunday, and then they make their plans for the week coming with their wives or going to the credit unions or their husbands or wherever they may do. But some people do that. Some people just want to look without anybody bothering them, and you can do that at Frontier Motors.
I'm looking at Lexus Mobile, and I know that they probably can listen to this broadcast, but I don't care. Lexus Mobile has 32.
They probably like that you told them that.
Yeah. Well, I'm in their website. Yeah. They have 32 used cars in stock. Yeah, we have almost 32 Lexus products in stock. I think you said 25. So we almost have as many Lexuses in stock as they have in their whole used car inventory.
Right.
That's one of the things that we're talking about is that if you're not sure what you want, the best place to go is an independent dealership like ourselves. And, of course, the whole thing to this show is to get you to come to Frontier Motors. But wherever you go, if it's an independent dealer that has 300-some cars, it's a great place to shop because you can look at all makes and models. And let's say you didn't know what you want. Let's say you wanted a Lexus-type car, but you're not sure if you want a Lexus or an Infiniti or a BMW or a Jaguar or maybe a Cadillac or maybe some of the new Buick products that they have out. Well, when you come to Frontier Motors, we have them all lined up. We have a Buick, a 2011 Buick LaCrosse new body style with 2,000 miles on it. Then we have the other Lexus products that have 2011 Lexus products in stock. We have the BMWs in stock. We have a 2010 BMW in stock. So we have a 2010 Infiniti in stock. So what we can do is we can line those all up. Like Ron had mentioned before, our cars are all unlocked, so you can sit in one just to see how the seat feels. And, of course, the next thing would be go for a test drive, see what you want. But that way you don't have to go to, if you're looking at 5 different manufacturers, you don't have to go to 5 different dealerships. And you know what happens when you go to those dealerships? We talked about before, pressure. They don't want you to leave. Every one of those salesmen are so excited, and you almost feel bad walking away because now the manager's going to come out. Wait a minute, before you go, what if I do this? What if I give you another $1,000? Come on. What if I give you another $1,000? I'll buy you. You can buy it by now.
That's the same guy that does those commercials.
What if it's sold? What if you come back, go home, think about it, and it's going to be sold, and I can't get another one? The whole thing about Frontier Motors, hey, buy it when you're ready. Let me give you a price. Let me give you a price on your trade-in. Let me put it in writing. If you're not ready, come on back when you are ready. If the car's available, we will adhere to the price. It makes the pressure off, and sometimes it costs us deals because we're giving you permission to go to the competition, and sometimes a customer will buy at the competition not because of our price or our product, but because they found something else that perhaps we didn't show them. And Ron, this happened the other day when I'm doing locate for a customer on a Cadillac CTS, and they go out and they buy a Lexus ES350. Well, why didn't you tell me you wanted a Lexus? You told me you want a Cadillac. I'm out there looking for a Cadillac for the customer, and they went and bought a Lexus without telling us. And this is what I'm talking about, folks, that you can come and look at all of them at Frontier Motors, and we will make it so easy. You're going to be pleasantly surprised, and almost 70% of our customers are repeat referrals, which I don't know if you know this, folks, but in the used car industry, that's unheard of. Because used car industry is probably one of the lowest industries for reputation of almost any profession out there. For years and years, they used to make fun of the used car salesman, and that's what Ron and I are. We're used car salesmen, but we're not your normal, typical used car salesman. We used to do it the wrong way. We both worked for franchise dealers for almost as long as we worked for used car dealerships. I actually worked for a new car dealership for 20 years. I've been doing used cars for 16 years. So we know how not to do it. So when we opened up Frontier Motors, we said, let's do this a little completely different. And it might cost us some money, but let's let the customer buy the car when they want to. Let's give the customer a price without having them ask for the price. Let's tell them what their car's worth. Let's appraise the car, even if they don't want to buy a car. Let's give them a free appraisal. Let's tell them where to go buy a car if we don't have the right one. Let's tell them if it's a good deal or a bad deal if they found one that their neighbor had. Bring it to us. Let us appraise it. Let us do a history report for you. Let us tell you what to pay. All these services we do at Frontier Motors for free because we know even if you don't sell you that particular car, the next time in your market, who are you going to recommend? It's going to be Frontier.
Yeah, we don't have anybody telling us. We don't have anybody in Atlanta telling us what to do. We tell ourselves. We don't have any corporate. We don't have any company policies. We don't have any of that. 35 Chevrolets alone in stock, 37 Toyotas in stock. And Volvos. Volvo is a decent market. It's not a huge market in Pensacola in our area. But listen to this. We have a 2009 Volvo S40 with 4,800 miles. Wow. We have a 2008 S80 with 35,000 miles. Everything that you can want is usually at Frontier Motors. If it's not, Ivan mentioned the locate system. The locate system is very simple.
How about a Saab?
Saab? We don't have Saab. We don't want no Saabs.
Thank God.
Saab's out of business.
If you didn't hear that, they just closed their doors 2 weeks ago. So I'm glad that we don't have a Saab.
It's a pity. Some of the Saabs are pretty neat little cars. Some of them weren't. Some of them people complained. Some of them didn't.
We should not sob for Saab, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, we should. But Don, believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that are sobbing for Saabs because we used to have a Saab franchise in Wisconsin, and people love their Saabs.
That's right. They're real passionate about it.
It's like a cult car.
Yeah, exactly.
Darn it.
Sobbing for Saabs. You guys are way too much.
You talk about the locate system. I got
the locate system is something. If you're one person that doesn't want to go from dealership to dealership to dealership, Not like the customer that came in and wanted a Cadillac and bought a Lexus. Know what you want. If you want a F-250 pickup truck, you want it in 08, 09 manner, you want it to be white or you want it to be silver, you want it to have a king cab, not a crew cab, and you need to spend this much money. You tell us that, we go find it. When it comes in here, the next time you'll see it, it'll be parked out in front of the showroom right there in front of the office, nice and clean and ready for your inspection. You don't give us a penny. You don't sign one piece of paper. You don't do anything until you've inspected, looked at the truck, drove it, went down the road. You come back. If it's what we said it was and with the agreement price, we just believe your word's good, and you can buy it. You know, I think in the 16 years we've been we're in our 16th year of business, I think we've gone south on these deals probably about 5 times. We'll take those odds. But the reason is we're picking them out. You know, before we buy a car, we have so much education as cars. We check the ID number, we check the car history, we check for flood, we check for damage, we check for all this stuff, so that when it gets to Frontier Motors, that filter is just about clean. You know, it's that little funnel effect there, right there. And it's so clean, so nice when you get there. And it's just an easy way to buy a car.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that we do a lot for is locating. You know, it's not like most dealerships are on. When most dealerships, if they had 300 cars in inventory, and they said, well, I don't like the color on the IS250 you have, go get me a blue one.
They'd fire the salesman.
They'd sell them that car, get the heck off my lot. That's what they'll tell a salesman. What we do at Frontier Motors, we say, let me go buy you that car with just a handshake and your word that as long as it meets the specifications and passes your inspection, not our inspection, that we have a deal. It makes it really, really easy without getting burned on eBay or one of these other websites where you got to pay for the car first and cross your fingers and hope you like it later. So we make it very simple. And check out our website. I'm looking at Lexus Automobile's website right now. They got a great website. Ours is just as good, if not better, because we've got 5 times as much inventory. FrontierMotorsInc.com. You don't even need to know the website address. Just Google Frontier Motors, and we're the first one that shows up. I think there's 3 of them in the nation. We're the top one because we sell the most cars. And I think last time we got ranked last year around, I think we were the 14th or 15th largest independent dealership in the nation, which says a lot about little Putsy, Pensacola, you know, with...
Easy on the Putsy, Pensacola.
Well, you know, Pensacola, I think the city has 58,000 people, and the surrounding area's got 300,000. So that's really a small metropolitan. I came from the Milwaukee area where the surrounding area had 1.5 million people, and, you know, we're outselling all of those dealerships. Matter of fact, Frontier Motors in Milwaukee is only selling about 40 cars a month, and we're selling about 200 cars a month. So it's really feathering our cap about the way that we do business, and that's what this whole show is about. You'll notice we are not talking about individual cars. We're talking about a premise of how a used car dealership handles their operation, handles you when you come in the dealership, that you can actually find a place that you can send your son or daughter to and say, hey, they're 15, 16 years old, they're going to get a car in the next year or so. They can actually come on the lot without somebody kicking them off and say, come on back when you get a license. Yeah. They can look at all our cars, they can sit in them. You ain't going to be able to drive them without a license, but they can get ready for that purchase, and you can actually feel comfortable sending them in there without you coming along. You'll find out that we make it so easy to end up with your business.
Got a short, quick minute, and financing is there. We have the nation's banks there. We have Wells Fargo, Fidelity National Bank. We have Penn Air Federal Credit Union right there at Frontier Motors. Harvesters Federal Credit. Anything you want for financing. If you got some secondary credit problems, we can help you with that. All you got to do is give us a call at 436-8080 or visit the website I was talking about, and there's a secured credit application on there. Cuts down a lot of that downtime when you come to a dealership. Get you pre-approved, ready to go when you get there. Absolutely. Remember, everybody drives a used car. Drive safe. No texting while you're driving. And come see us at Frontier Motors.
Thanks for listening, and also thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We've got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.